Happy Kickstart morning. Welcome, everyone. I sure hope that you got your coffee or tea because I got mine here. My name is Brigitta Hoeferle. I am very honored and excited to be here with you yet again on this beautiful beginning of the week. And I couldn't be more excited. And I couldn't be more excited for me and for you that is listening, because I have a very special person here with me. She's a dear friend, but even more than that, when she speaks, I listen, and I think you should too. Why? She's been a former franchise owner. She has her background in corporate America. She's an executive coach. She has been in business for over 43 years. You think she knows a thing or two about business? And most of all, and that's really why I look up to her, she's an absolute sales genius. And we're going to talk a little bit more about increasing. We're going to talk a little bit more about the different sales conversations, or the different conversations we have when we meet people. And we're going to talk about the 3 C's. So welcome, Celeste Giordano. Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you, Brigitta. What an honor and privilege to be here today with you, and send my love to you. It's been 18 months, I think, since we have been in person and seen one another. So I'm very excited to be here, and just love you, love Christian and your family and everything that you guys are doing. You're rocking and rolling, and it's just a blessing.
Thank you, Celeste. Celeste and our family with an organization went to on a European cruise in 2018, I think. Yeah, 2018. 2018. Did a day of service in Barcelona. I think that was one of the funnest day of service that I had in a long time. And a lot of that we brought back to the States, and we're doing that here, right here in our own backyard in Atlanta. And I know that Celeste, you do a lot of giving back in the community wherever you are. And I know that the viewers and our participants here are doing the same thing, because, being a leader, I did a post on LinkedIn the other day. Being a leader is one thing. Being a boss is definitely not being a leader, not in my book, but being a leader is one thing. Being a servant leader is a whole nother elevation of that. And I want to talk a little bit about that today with Celeste. So Celeste, you tell us a little bit, what were the last 18 months for you?
Wow. Well, the last 18 months for me was being in lockdown with my husband 24/7, where we've been married 29 years this year. And for 16 years, he worked in Miami, and he was gone 20 days and we were only together 10. So for 18 months, we've been together 24/7. And you know what? We realized how much we really love each other, have missed the time together, and really took that time to just grow as a couple and as individuals in our business. But we just really enjoyed that time together. So to me, that was the most important thing, and spending time with being a caregiver for my mother and serving, family members. So that was important to me.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Now, within, a lot of people through the pandemic have either been so close on top of their family that they're like, I can't wait to get out, or they have been in complete solitude and have not had anyone to talk to, right?
That's true.
And then some people, their business just went skyrocketing like ours. And some people completely lost everything. There was hardly ever a gray area or gray areas. There was an either, all gone or all there. How did you experience it from a business point of view? How did you experience it with your clients?
Well, it was like a roller coaster, like you said. There, so many people were calling. They weren't able to go out and network. They didn't have lead generation coming in. They weren't building relationships. And it was a very heartfelt thing for many people. And I think probably one of the biggest advice that I gave to my clients, Brigitta, is every day I wanted them to make 10 phone calls a day. I wanted them to make 3 personal phone calls, checking in on family, friends, reach out to 3 business people to keep that relationship going. And then I said, and then the other 4 can come from social media, because a lot of people were posting things on social media, and you reached out to them because there was a lot of people that were hurting. And you just don't know who you're touching by reaching out and touching somebody with a phone call and just saying, hey, Brigitta, I'm just checking in to see how you are. And that was a great thing. And what that did for a lot of my clients is it opened up a lot of conversations for them to have conversations. They weren't used to using the phone.
Yes.
So
isn't that crazy?
Yeah, so that's pretty much what we did is that we reached out and did that. And the other thing is, of course, everybody got on the Zoom wagon, and a lot of us got burnt out on the Zoom wagon. But but that was the other thing. Get yourself in front of an audience right there. But you really had to handle people with kid gloves because, like you said, there were some people that their business was skyrocketing, and there were some people that were really, really hurting and that were losing things. So, you really had to handle people with kid gloves. And my favorite quote and saying is, people don't care how much you know till they know how much you care. And to me, I took the approach of my clients, let people know how much you care.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, when you care about people, you said something earlier before we started the recording, it boils down to one thing and one thing only. It boils down to that love, to that compassion, to that caring for others.
Absolutely. You have to fall in love with people. It's people over profit. You fall in love with people, you build the relationships. My job here is to help you achieve your goal. And when people like, want, and trust you, and they feel that relationship with you, it's amazing what those people can accomplish just by having somebody believe in them. Somebody is a confident person like yourself or myself, but there are a lot of people that are not confident out there, Brigitta, and they need that daily, love and affection. And that's why I say it's very important to reach out and touch people, reach out and touch someone.
Yeah, I love that. Even if we cannot reach them in person, at least a phone call is so much more than just a text message, right? You mentioned one word with a C several times over now, and a lot of people got hit in the gut with and not having a whole lot of confidence coming out of this pandemic. Share with us a little bit more on the 3 C's of the Legacy Mindshift that you so skillfully teach.
Absolutely. And I appreciate that, Brigitta. Confidence is when your self-image aligns with your business image. Who you are in your personal life is who you are in your business life. And so, it's very important to realize people, whether you have a product or a service, they're not buying that product or service, they're buying you. And so that's why it's so important, to have confidence. And a lot of people lack confidence. And, I have a story, and I'll keep it very, very short. As a business person, I have the most confidence in the world, but nobody really never knew that I lacked self-confidence in myself personally, of me personally. And it wasn't until I had a professional session with a headshot and a stylist and a professional photographer, and and then they presented this beautiful picture, and it's like, I am pretty, I am gorgeous, and I am proud to smile and stuff like that. So a lot of people lack self-confidence, and I think it's important that we spend time with people, helping them build their confidence, and I think that's important.
Yeah, I agree with you. Confidence is a big key. And as you are, there are even people out there, when you scale and you help them grow their business and they're scaling their business, they might have some sort of confidence, but in that growth piece and in that scaling piece, that takes a whole nother level of confidence. Now, as they're shifting levels, confidence is not the only part in the 3 C's of the Legacy Mindshift.
Absolutely. The 3 C's of the Legacy Mindshift is confidence, control, and consistency. So number one is you do have to be confident in who you are personally and who you are professionally. People like to do business with people that are confident. People also like to do business with people who are involved in the community. And so that was another huge thing, with all my clients, is I get them to be involved in the community and to give back. I spent 36 years in direct sales with a franchise, and I worked 24/7, and we gross millions of dollars every single year. But you know what? I never made time, and I say made time because I could have. I never made time to give back to the community. I was giving back to people who, giving them opportunity, recognition, and money, and people with very little education making $1,000, $2,000 a week, and that was giving back to a certain degree. But I'm talking about giving back with people that homeless people, sex trafficking, and things of this nature in the community. And it's, to me now, in the last 7 years since I retired and started my consulting business, everything is about serving others first. When you serve others first, you're automatically going to be blessed when you're doing things. And so that's important to me. And that was one thing with my clients, is teaching them to give back and to serve the community. And there's opportunities everywhere you look, whether you be a volunteer, whether you donate financially or material, monetize, whatever it is. You can always give back to the community, and that is a blessing. You get known in the community. The friendships and the relationships that you build, they build off of that. And it's amazing how your business will just explode by being involved in the community.
Yeah, I agree. And there's that greater love, right? Because you said earlier, that love for people, but then that love for the community of giving back without an agenda, without even necessarily be seen. Because anyone can write a check. Let's be honest. Anyone can write a check and say, here you go. But really, rolling up your sleeves and going and digging in and digging the ditches and being out there and handing out blankets and saving kids or women from the street. I mean, all of that does not necessarily, we don't do that for recognition. We do that for the love of the people.
Absolutely, Brigitta. And one thing that really touched my heart was 5 years ago. There's a women and children's shelter in Gwinnett County, and all the time, people in the community come together and they give for the children for Christmas time, and it was the children. Well, you think about the mother that has these children. And she's homeless and she's a good person. She's not homeless because she's lazy. She's homeless. Maybe she's a victim of spousal abuse or something. And this is why, she's in this shelter. And we did a Mother's Day dinner. And you remember, you've participated in these. And it's been an ongoing tradition now going on 6 years, I think, where, we gave back to the mothers, and it was all about honoring the mothers. And they had never had anybody do something like that. And, the pride that those women, felt that we were honoring them. And the biggest takeaway was that we had spouses that participated in this, and they served the food to the women, and it gave them hope that there are good men out there, especially if they were victim of spousal abuse. How do you put a price on that, Brigitta?
No, I mean, and I still get goosebumps you talking about it, because it brings back those memories. And yeah, that's what makes my heart skip a beat in a really good way. And that's why we do what we do.
Absolutely. And like I say, and the relationships that you build, I mean, the sponsorships, and stuff like that you meet with people. I mean, you can't put a price tag on that for growing your business. And they're lifelong friendships because they're like-minded people. They're elite people.
That's the kind of leader and I'm speaking to you, Celeste, and everyone that's listening. That's the kind of leader that I lock arms with, because they're leading by example. They're not saying, okay, you go do it, right? And then I come in and I take a nice little selfie and then I go again. No, we go in, we roll up our sleeves, we're doing it. And that's the kind of leader that serves to be modeled. Right. One of the laws that I teach is it's all about expert modeling. So really vetting the people that we're modeling, being clear on what are their values and their qualities before we model them, so we can actually lead the right value, teach and lead with the right values ourselves. I love that. I love the love for people, love for the community. And it's got to be, when you listen to me, it's got to be a win-win-win. I always talk about the win-win-win. It's got to be a win for you, a win for me, and a win for the greater good. And I want to start out with that win for the greater good. But then you talked about another love, not for people, not for the greater community, not for individuals that are in need, but really it's a love for sales. I'm really intrigued about that. Tell me more about that.
Absolutely. You know, we talk about the 3 C's, a legacy Mindshift. And really, as a business entrepreneur, you do have to have a mind shift. And it's the same thing. Number one, if you're a business entrepreneur, if you're in corporate America, if you're dealing with people, you need to fall in love with people, because you're going to be with them day in and day out. And people is what's going to grow your business. You know, people are leads. Leads, leads are people. So you better fall in love with people. And the other thing is, the sales makes everything go around. I don't care what business you're in, it's sales. And every time I'm doing a workshop on sales, everybody says, oh, I hate sales. I don't like sales. Well, you know what? You're never going to sell anything if you hate it. So you better fall in love with it and love to interact and love people, because a positive and negative cannot connect. And so you have to really fall in love with sales to be successful, and fall in love with people and be natural about it and truly care about the people and care about helping and serving other people. And really, that's what sales is you are a solution to a problem that they have.
Now, when your solution to a problem, that doesn't mean just a pie in the sky kind of, oh, let me be a solution to your problem. That's actually, there's some tangibles there. It's got to be actually be measurable. I heard a rabbi speak the other day when I was at an in-person event with 1,700 people in Jacksonville, and a rabbi spoke there, and he said, if it's not measurable, it really doesn't happen. And if it doesn't happen, or if it does for, happenstance happen, then you cannot do it over and over and over again, and you cannot grow and scale your business. So the metrics and the numbers are the ones that make it measurable.
Absolutely, Brigitta. And, the second C of control is you can control your conversations, but you can't control that number at the end of the month. But you do have to measure and have your metrics of the amount of leads that you're bringing in on a daily, weekly basis, the amount of appointments that you're making, the amount of in-person meetings or sales conversations you're having, and how many sales you're closing and how much money you're making. And then what you have to do is work those metrics, because everything works back. You don't focus on the money, because without leads, you can't make money. You don't focus on the appointments, because you don't focus on the money, because without appointments, you can't make money. You don't focus on the money, because without sales calls, you can't make money. And without sales, you can't make the money either. So don't focus on the money, focus on the lead generation, tracking your numbers, tracking your closing average, because that will tell you how many leads you need daily, weekly, and monthly. It will also tell you how many sales conversations based on your closing average that you need to have. And you know what? The numbers don't lie, Brigitta. Day in and day out, week in and week out. And the accountability of having a mentor and a coach, working with you that holds you accountable to that on a weekly basis. That was the biggest thing when I started my consulting business. And, and everybody's got their own way of how they do things. And I'm not saying my way's right and their way's wrong, but I duplicated my consulting program of what worked for me when I was a franchise owner in the people developing business. And we had goals, and they had accountability, and they had to track their numbers. They had to turn them in daily, weekly, and we had midweek reviews. And what happened is, by doing these things, it never allowed them to have a bad month, because they didn't have a bad week. If they did accidentally fall upon a bad week, we could self-correct and start the next week off right. And then we kept building off of that. And at the end of the month, it was always a successful month. We always had the top salespeople, the top recruiters, and the top managers and things of this nature, because we tracked our metrics And we taught our leadership team to track the metrics, and the metrics don't lie. And that's what you can control. And you can break that down and self-correct instead of waiting at the end of the month and say, well, I don't know what happened. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. I didn't make the money. And you can't even go back and track your record.
That means you're not just tracking the numbers and the metrics once to learn from them. There is a consistency in that.
Absolutely. And that's the third C, is consistency. You can't track your numbers one day and not track them the next, or 1 week, or whatever. You have to track those numbers, and you got to be able to, put your finger on it. When I have a call with you every week, I want to be able to know how many leads you bring in last week, how many sales calls did you have? And if you don't know, it goes back to that saying, if you don't know where you've been, you don't know where you're going. And, I'm an old fashioned. I mean, I'm into the digital age, but I still use a desktop calendar. I use, over here, my day planner. I still track all my numbers on my desktop, and I track it on my daily planner. So if you were to ask me 10 years ago what I did, I still have my desktop planner. I could go back and tell you exactly what I did on October 29th, 2000. I mean, I can do it. And, but most people don't know. They have no idea. And that is something that's taught. And I promise you that when you get confident and you learn to control the numbers, and you're consistently working a system and process, you can't help but be successful. And as long as you fall in love with people and fall in love with sales and give back to the community, you can't help but have a successful business.
That's what we're all about at Spire. That was absolutely golden nugget after golden nugget after golden nugget. And there's actually going to be more golden nuggets. Celeste's going to talk about the 3 different kind of conversations one has. She's going to drop many more nuggets on Thursday, November 4th, at the Spire event in person in Buckhead at the American Cut Rooftop Bar. So it'll be all the way upstairs. You're going to take an elevator upstairs at the American Cut Rooftop Bar. She will be there November 4th. I will be there. Bill will be there. Celeste, thank you so much for coming here. For the people that will not be able to make it live and in person, I sure hope that you all put it on your calendar right now. How do people get in touch with you?
Absolutely, Brigitta. Thank you so much. They can reach out to me at Celeste at CelesteGiordano.com. My website is CelesteGiordano.com, or you can reach out by 888-692-6170. And Brigitta, I am so excited to see you and Bill and the entire Spire community on Thursday. And I'm bringing 5 or 6 people with us on Thursday. And we're looking forward to building relationships and working together with Spire and giving back to the community.
I love it. Thank you, Celeste, for being here. Thank you guys for being here on this Monday morning. See you on Thursday evening at 5:30, November 4th, at the American Cut Rooftop Bar. Thank you, Celeste. Bye. Make it a great week.
You do the